So I'm Luis Rodriguez. Here at the University of Illinois, I'm in the Agricultural and Biological Engineering department. My background is systems engineering. I've worked in a number of different places before coming to the University of Illinois, primarily studying life support systems. And we wanted to bring humans to Mars, which really involved a agro-ecosystem designed and controlled within a life support system. It's a big challenge, but I always looked at that as the most tightly constrained ecosystem. If we can make that one work, we're probably going to improve some here on Earth. So now how does that become relevant to this particular project? Well, once again, there's an opportunity here to really improve our efficiencies. And that's where we were really strong when we were studying those life support systems for Mars. So a little bit of our current project. We are planning to study the supply logistics of the delivery of post-harvested materials in both India and Brazil. At first, we're going to be starting out in India, primarily because we see this as a more complex problem, actually. Farms tend to be smaller, distributed. The network of handlers that are going to buy the farmers' products, move them progressively to larger and larger markets, are many different handoffs along that supply chain. Post-harvest losses really boils down to food security. Populations are increasing around the world, but every single one of us in that population, we all deserve to be fed and on a fair, affordable manner. A reliable manner, one that we can trust that there's going to be not just enough, but it's going to be safe to eat as well. We've seen numbers reported as high as about half the food being lost along the way before it gets to the consumer, and that has to be a huge opportunity. And if we could capture 10%, half of that, think about how many more mouths we can feed, how much we can reduce lack of nutrition, malnutrition, or all of those concerns. Food security is probably one of the biggest challenges out there, and we should be a part of it. From my view, we are really at the baby step stages of this particular project. I mentioned earlier, we need to know and understand the network in India in particular. One of our collaborators is from India, and I think that's one leg up that we certainly have in finding our ways in to establish that perspective. But what do we need in order to be successful? We're going to need to find good collaborators that are going to help us understand the system, reach out to not just other academics in India, but non-governmental organizations and governmental organizations, research arms of the USDA equivalent of the United States and India. Similarly in Brazil. In a couple years, if we've established that network, I anticipate that we'll actually be able to do some systems analysis and find some key leverage points where we might really improve the system in the short term and turn that back around into new research projects where either a new technology or new practice will be developed. That is, we'll need to be tightly integrated with some of the technology development efforts in the ADM Institute. So I think we're also going to be pretty aggressive in trying to leverage our current investment from the ADM in order to generate funds from agencies like USDA, USAID, maybe Gates Foundation, among others. We're already looking at some of those opportunities as well. That might expand our opportunities beyond Brazil and India. Short-term challenges are about the network. Do we know people that are in country, not the U.S., Brazil or India, that can verify what we're learning? Good modelers and analysts, which is what our project is primarily about. We can't spend all our time at the laptop or computer working with the mathematics. We also need to be verifying and validating our perspective on what is the ground truth in these systems. So in the short term, we need those collaborators to help us verify our perspectives.